Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Ray Ora,
Hey.
Jonathan Voico,
Hello.
Paris Rose is here,
Hello.
and most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making this little show part of your day, and here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about some predetermined topics. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you've got a live comment, question, observation, or theory you'd like us to address, and if it's appropriate for us to address in the show, go ahead and use the tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip and send it on in, and we'll get to those in the second half of the show. Now, the great news about this tip link is that if you're one of the many people who watch this show after we're done the live stream, if you want to have a question addressed too, you can send in a topic or question anytime, 24 hours a day using that tip link. And if you send it in when we're not live, we'll get around to answering it on our next episode. All right, guys, with that down, let's kick things off here with a little bit of an off the top here, shall we? And that is this. Of course, you guys know Deadpool coming out. I can't remember the last time I've been this excited for a movie. I think it might have been when they announced new Star Wars movies were coming. That's the last time I've been this excited for a new movie. Deadpool and Wolverine's coming out. We are now, I believe, 23 days away. I believe we are 23 days away, 23, 24 days away. It's counting down.
Yeah, so 20, 24, 23, yeah.
But remember, the official date's the 26th, but that means it's really
that's
coming out on the 25th.
Yeah.
So we're like, we're days away. It's coming. I'm so excited. One of the big things a lot of people speculated, of course, was that Taylor Swift, the Swiftmeister, Shake It Off, It's Me, Hi, I'm the Problem, It's Me, is going to be making an appearance in some way, shape, or form in Deadpool 3. But then this came out. Entertainment Weekly, a number of weeks ago, dashed people's hopes, saying, sorry, Swifties, Taylor Swift is not featured in the Deadpool and Wolverine. Not there. So everybody said, and I remember I said at the time, okay, that's cool. I don't think they're lying, but I think they're being fed false information, including from the director, Sean Levy, saying something along the lines of, oh, we should have shut this down earlier. I said, that's fine that they're saying that. I don't really buy that. Well, this morning, Ryan Reynolds got on social media and he posted this image of Deadpool. Now, he didn't post the Taylor Swift one beside it. This is other people making the comparison. An image that was very reminiscent of the Evermore cover for Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton.
That's hot.
For Paris Hilton. Totally different story. Taylor Swift. And if you open up the social media post, while that picture is there, the song, the Taylor Swift song Evermore, is playing in the background. So there are two possibilities here. One, Ryan Reynolds continues to tease that his buddy, Taylor Swift, who also goes by the name Paris Hilton, apparently, is going to be making a cameo in this film. Or option number two is that Ryan Reynolds is trolling everybody.
He's never done that before.
Well, I mean, not really. He's teased a lot of stuff. I don't know. Maybe he's just straight up trolling everybody. I have never professed to know that Taylor Swift is going to be in this movie. We have no idea. I mean, we're not going to know till we go to the movie. Maybe she's there, maybe she's not. I personally think she will be. I just think there's too many dots connecting here. I think she will be, regardless of anything else. But again, maybe she won't. I don't know for sure. So I don't know. Paris, you got a thought? Taylor Swift going to be in this movie?
I feel like she might do a little cameo at the end. Just a little small cameo and get people excited. And now I'm kind of hoping for it.
Yeah. You know, now that you say that, I was thinking about, like, I don't think she'll be in the movie, but she could be like a stinger. Like, right?
Yeah.
Post-credit little troll, like she is there, but not really.
That's how I see it. I'm seeing it now very clearly. I'm going to be really upset if I'm wrong.
What I do believe that the big fan theory that she was going to be Dazzler, I believe that's probably not happening, but I absolutely think some quick blink and you'll miss it. Brad Pitt as the Invisible Boy in Deadpool 2, kind of very quick flash cameo. I still think it's going to be there. Maybe yes, maybe no.
I think she sings the end credit song.
Oh, I hadn't even thought
I
about
think
that.
they probably worked up a song that she
The way
just
Celine
made.
did for the last one.
Yeah, for this movie, and I think it's gonna be an end credit thing. I just don't think she's gonna be in the film or be a factor.
Are you
in the
okay,
film.
Jonathan? Jonathan,
Just like getting so excited about
having
this
some
Taylor
nervous
Swift news.
tics
I'm
over
like,
there
it's
on the
open mic.
stretcher. Again, we will see. Except whenever Celine Dion's Ashes comes up, I still gotta ask somebody in the Academy, how did that not win Best Song at the Academy Awards for Deadpool 2? But whatever. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Do you think that Entertainment Weekly was right all along, that she's not going to be there? Do you think Ryan Reynolds is trolling everybody, or is it just yet another little crumb on the ground, kind of giving us hints that it's some way, shape, or form, Taylor Swift or Paris Hilton will be making a quick cameo in the film? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, let's get into our main topics here today, shall we? Paris, what we got up first?
All right. So back in 1996, the original Twister movie had an impressive debut weekend, making $41 million, going on to make nearly $500 million in its full theatrical run. Now, according to The Hollywood Reporter, the new Twisters film is set to beat that. Twisters is tracking to open to $55 million over the July 19th to the 21st weekend in North America, according to market leader the National Research Group. Some believe Twisters could do even more than $55 million, such as research firm The Quorum, which is predicting $54 million to $61 million.
Wow.
So, John, would this be considered a good opening for Twisters?
I think it has to be considered a great opening weekend for them if they can. I mean, look, we just had A Quiet Place break its own franchise record for its biggest opening at $53 million. And then Paramount decided to be really stupid, and we'll talk about that in just a little while. But I mean, with that, so if Twisters can, because I'll be honest with you, this is one of those projects as I've kind of been like, channeling my inner Chris Carr, for why? Like, really? Like, if you wanted to do a Twister 2 with Helen Hunt, I kind of get it. I think that's the path they were going down at first. And then later on, it became, actually, no, it's not going to be connected to the original one. Oh, okay. And then they're doing it. Now, you got Glenn Powell, who I think you could make an argument that between him and girl who plays Wednesday,
Jenna Ortega.
Yeah.
Ortega, they could be the two hottest rising stars in the business right now. They certainly gave us a really nice, fun presentation at CinemaCon for Twisters. But I'll be honest with you, this whole time I've kind of wondered, will there be a lot of interest? If this movie can actually open to 50 plus, I mean, in that Quiet Place kind of range, I think they take that as a huge win. Now, I'm not sure, Ray, maybe you can look this up. I'm not sure what the production budget on Twisters was.
Yeah,
But I mean, I can't imagine any studio would have greenlit like a $200 million on that. But again, consider the numbers.
200 million.
It is 200 million.
Yeah.
Wow. That's who greenlit a Twisters at $200 million. Okay, but going back to the point I was about to make, the original film opened to 41 million and went on to make nearly $500 million. If Twisters can open to say 55 million and go on to make 575, $600 million, guess what? It's profitable. It's profitable and makes money and becomes a hit. But can it? With the exception of Ray Ora, I have not heard of a lot of people super stoked for this, but you have been excited for this, Ray. What is it about this movie that's made you like so? Because last time we were in a movie, they played the Twisters trailer. As soon as the Twister trailer ends, it's a quiet theater. All you hear is Ray. Yeah.
Look,
This long voice.
I'm a sucker for natural disaster movies, especially if the effects are done really well. It's kind of like, oh, that's how it's gonna look if that really happened. I always think that in my head. I love these things. I want to watch this in 4DX. I know
man.
I know we don't have that in our A list, but I'm gonna see if any one of you guys will go to the
Dude, that's gonna be a rough
4DX
one, man.
Twisters. The only problem I have against when I saw it was 2 hours and 1 minute. I don't
That
think
one
Pretty
minute did
short
it.
for a big feature.
I don't think
Just 2 hours is
Yeah.
enough.
I don't think a natural disaster really needs to be that long.
I really wish people could have been beside me because the trailer they played in the theater was the same one that had recently dropped, but I guess Ray missed a part of it when it dropped online, because as we were in that theater and the trailer's playing, it got to the point where we're at the refinery and there's a fire tornado, and all you hear is Ray going, there's a fire tornado. There's a fire tornado.
Let me make this clear. It's not that I missed it. It's when I know I'm going to watch a movie, I stop watching any trailers. I don't care. I don't look for it. Deadpool, Wolverine, whatever comes out, I don't watch it because I know I'm going to be there. And that's the same way I feel about Twisters. That's all.
Somebody's got to make that t-shirt
A
now.
fire tornado, man.
There's a fire tornado.
They combine two forces together, and it's going to wreck wherever they're at. For sure.
Sharknado.
You guys are excited for this movie?
I just keep saying Twister.
Nobody in this
I
room.
was excited, but
I'm
I feel like
curious about
they're
it.
pushing Glenn Powell on us too much, and I'm just that ruined it for me. I need another lead.
But wait,
He's gonna rodeo.
He's
He's gonna rodeo ride those Twisters.
two movies in the last 6 months.
It's too much.
I don't know how you did it, girl. But we
He's
ride
put one
Twisters.
Netflix
Okay.
film and one small romantic comedy.
They
Tornado.
acted like he
Okay.
was amazing.
What
in
did
it.
Glenn Powell do to you?
I don't
How did he
know.
hurt you?
What did he do to you?
They acted like he was amazing in this rom com. It's just
He was
I feel
really good.
I don't know.
You know, but when was the last natural disaster movie we've had in the theater? I'm trying to look it up, and
That's the
Well,
Rock
wasn't
movie.
it the
Moon
thing?
Moon. But
Is it
as it
called
turns
Moon?
out, that wasn't a natural disaster.
Yeah.
That was alien.
you mean Moonfall?
Moonfall. That's
Moonfall.
right, not Moon. Moon is a very different
is,
movie.
Yeah, Moon is really
Well,
good.
it has this going for it. No other natural disaster movies have come out recently. So
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The projections on the opening weekend for Twister are frankly higher than I thought they would be. Can it go on to make bank like the original film did? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? Paris, what do we got next?
All right. Well, this past weekend, Kevin Costner's $100 million film Horizon opened with an abysmal $11 million opening weekend.
Ugh.
Ouch. Yeah. That equates to about 1 million people going to see the film this weekend. But Yellowstone's last season premiere brought in over 12 million viewers, which has many people wondering why less than 10% of Yellowstone fans went out to support Costner's new Western passion project. So, John, we know you're a Yellowstone fan.
I am.
Why didn't fans show up to see Horizon?
Yeah, first of all, what a disaster this is. And you know what? The disaster is about to get worse because part 2 is coming out in 6 weeks.
That's going to be the fire tornado of
That's
Horizon.
going to be that's have a fire tornado in it. Gonna blow everything away. Seriously, and who's going to go see that? With only 1 million people going to see this, and to put that into perspective, just how big Yellowstone is. The Bear just dropped season 3, and it beat its own record in viewership that's gone up 24% over last year. It had 5.4 million viewers. Yellowstone's last season debut had 12 point something million viewers. That's how many people watch Yellowstone. So to your question about why didn't the people who are the passionate fans like me, who are big fans of Yellowstone, why didn't they come out? I mean, it's a Western too, got Kevin Costner in it. Why didn't the people go out to support this? We'll never know for sure, and I'm sure there's a million small reasons, but I want to point out what I think are the 3 main ones. So let's take a look. Where were the Yellowstone crowd? All right. Point 1 is one that I talked about before, so I'll get this one out of the way first. The trailers never told us what the movie was about. Like, I'm sorry, whether it's a Kevin Costner movie, anything else, any genre, any star, you just drop trailers where you don't even let the audience remotely know what the movie's about. All I know is that it takes place in the West. Okay. And at some point, Kevin Costner pulls a gun on somebody. Okay. I have no idea who his character is, what he's trying to do, why he's there. I mean, literally, they told me nothing about it. And I think if you're trying to convince people to book an evening, pull out their wallets, go to the movie theaters for a night, you got to convince them why. And they simply didn't do anything with their trailers to sell the movie. Here's what I'm not saying ruin the movie. I'm not saying spoil the movie. I'm saying tell me what's it about. And they never did that. So I think that's the first problem. The second problem they faced is that today's audience, they don't follow the stars from one project to the next. If you will, think about Robert Downey Jr. coming out of the Avengers and the MCU, Tony Stark, on fire, arguably for a period of time, maybe the biggest star in the world. So it's great. Now it's time for me to do my passion project, The Judge. Nobody went to go see that. But it's Robert Downey Jr. Everybody loves the MCU. Why didn't the MCU fans go? Because fans today tend to love certain stars in certain things. And so you had him go from the MCU into that. Same thing with, Chris Hemsworth. Everybody loves him as Thor. And then he did Black Cat. And nobody went to go see that. They don't necessarily follow. Even in the world of YouTube, I've brought this up before, but I remember when I was, selling Jeremy Johns on the idea of coming to work with us at Collider, one of the things Jeremy, and I knew this was a possibility, but even Jeremy said to me at the time, goes, no, we sure we want to do this? Because he says, my audience likes seeing me do the things I do. And I remember Jeremy telling me when I start to deviate a little bit, my audience gets a little upset. And I come back to what my core thing is. He said, just because I come over to AMC doesn't mean that my audience will necessarily come. And we knew that was a possibility. And sure enough, they didn't. Mm-hmm. Like Jeremy's audience did not come over to watch him on Collider. That was okay because Jeremy still made the show better.
Yeah, it was great.
And definitely still paid off.
The fans of our show were like, this is awesome.
Yeah, definitely paid off. And I'm definitely glad we did it. But Jeremy was right, when he said the audience doesn't necessarily translate. And I think, the assumption that a lot of people had, maybe even the assumption that Kevin Costner had, that they love me in Yellowstone. I'm going to go do a Western. They're going to come and if you build it, they will come. Didn't I say that once before in a movie? They didn't. So number one, the trailers never told us what the movie was even about. Number two, today's audience don't necessarily follow stars from one project to another. Third one is this. Some Yellowstone fans were just turned off by how Costner left Yellowstone. I remember I even got into a debate and an argument last week in the comments section with somebody who said, after what Costner did with Yellowstone, I'm never watching him again. And I argue, it's like, what do you mean what he did? He made a personal decision about what he thought was good for himself, his life, and his career. And you're going to hold that against him?
Yes.
Yes. But, obviously there was a lot of nastiness that came out about possibly how things went south between him and Taylor Sheridan and all that kind of stuff. And I think regardless on whether you were on Taylor Sheridan's side or whether you were on Kevin Costner's side, regardless, the whole nastiness just left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. Nobody wanted to hear about infighting on their favorite show. People just wanted to love their show. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, aren't all you guys getting rich off this? Why are you all crying and arguing with each other? And I think there's a fair argument to be said that it turned a lot of people off. Now, look, again, I think there are a million reasons why some people decided not to go watch Horizon. For some people, Westerns just aren't people's things. That's another fair shot too. But I think when you break it down, I personally think the three main ones here are, number one, the trailers never told people what it was about. Number two, the audience doesn't necessarily follow stars from one project to the next. And number three, I think some people got soured on how the divorce between Yellowstone and him happened. By the way, I think we might see that have an effect on Yellowstone too when Yellowstone returns.
I am a little concerned about that.
That people are going to be some viewers that are just turned off again by the behind the scenes drama. I think it affected Horizon. I think it might affect Yellowstone too.
Unless McConaughey comes in with a hell of a personality, which
now,
we know he
remember,
can.
they still got to do the second part.
Yeah, before they get
of the final season, before they get to the new show.
That's the
right?
hurdle. So
I don't know. Like Paris, you did not go to see Horizon this weekend. What prevented you, as a film goer, from going to? Was it just I'm just not interested in the Westerns, or it didn't look good? I don't know. What was it for you that kept you away from it?
Westerns aren't my favorite, but I will still watch a Western if I feel like the trailer pulled me in. And you're absolutely right. That trailer left me clueless. I was like, all right, I'll wait for it to stream somewhere because it's not worth it.
Yeah. And I think that's probably what a lot of people felt too. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? Horizon flopped pretty hard, and I fear Horizon Part 2 is going to flop even harder. Why do you think a personality like Costner, who's been around for so long, so many great movies, coming off of Yellowstone, which is one of the most popular shows in the world, Why did the Yellowstone audience not go and show up? Whatever you guys think about that, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to our next topic, shall we? Paris, what's up next?
Let's do it. All right. So A Quiet Place Day 1 just celebrated the biggest opening weekend in the franchise with an impressive $53 million opening. But that isn't stopping the studio from rushing the film to home video. According to World of Real, Paramount isn't wasting any time on A Quiet Place Day 1, which is set to be available digitally on July 30th, just 32 days after its initial theatrical release. So, John, is this the right move for a movie that just had such a successful launch?
No. No.
Jeez, Paris, why'd you ask?
I know.
What a dumb question, Paris. No, I mean, I honestly, okay, listen, anybody at Paramount watching this, just get a little close, okay? Get a little close. What the hell are you thinking? Seriously, what the hell are you thinking? Well, I wonder why our studio's going under. I don't know. Maybe you just had a movie that had a $53 million opening, and 3 days later we're finding out, oh, it's coming to streaming in about 4 weeks, everybody.
Can I just say, if anyone at Paramount actually got closer to their screen, there's your answer as to why I made this decision.
Like you basically just, let me tell you a couple of reasons why this is so stupid, okay? Stupid reason number one has to do with this movie in and of itself. You just basically put out an advertisement to moviegoers who are thinking about going to see this film. Hey guys, no, save your money. You don't need to hire a babysitter and come out and see our movie. We're going to be on streaming in like 4 weeks. Don't worry about it. They just spent more energy advertising why people shouldn't go to the movies to see this film than they did getting people to go to see it.
You're right.
It just made $53 million. And what do? Hey guys, don't worry about it. For those of you who haven't come to see the movie yet, don't worry about the positive word of mouth. Don't worry about any of that. We're going to be on home video in about 4 weeks. Just stay home. You fucking imbeciles. You fucking imbeciles. What the hell is wrong with you? Seriously. I just came back from seeing the movie a couple days ago. Had a great time in the theater. $53 million. Franchise record. I just fucking Beavis and Butthead running things over there.
Hey, don't you dare.
Don't
my
cross
boys,
that
bro.
line, John.
From a business standpoint, though, I just don't even understand what they were thinking. Like, do they think that, were they worried that maybe it had such a successful opening
That's what it
that they
was.
can't keep it up? So, like, let's quickly go to streaming. I don't understand.
The funny thing is, I literally had people in the live chat like talking to each other today saying, people in our literally saying, oh, I guess I don't need to go see it.
That's what I would do.
So number one, you just hamstrung your own film because I got people in my own chat going, oh, I guess I don't need to go see it now. I guess all I got to do is wait a couple of weeks. Well, that frees my weekend up. Way to go, Paramount, you fucking jackals. So that's one. Two is the same idiocy that came out of something like Fall Guy that got the short release. Now, Fall Guy didn't flop because it had short release. It was flopping already. But this is the other thing. You are now, Paramount, conditioning the audience that they don't have to go to any movies at all. This is the same thing I said about Fall Guy. You are conditioning the audience. You are training the audience like an owner trains a little puppy. And you're training them to say, you don't really need to go out and see our movie because we'll probably just release it in just a couple of weeks. Forget waiting a few months like they did back when movies were much bigger hits back in 2019, 2020. No, forget that. You are now training the audience. So forget about the effect it has on Quiet Place Day 1. We've already established this is going to have an impact on that because I've already got people in my own chat saying they're not going to go see it now because they're just going to wait. The extended problem is that, like Fall Guy, you are now training and conditioning the audience that they don't need to make running out to your movies a priority because they just know, or you're at least training them that, yeah, we're just going to drop these online in a couple of weeks, guys. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. You are hamstringing yourself. You're literally taking a scalpel and slicing your own Achilles. It is just absolutely, and then you wonder, why is our company going out of business? Because listen, if you apply the same amount of brain power to every other area of your business, to what how you're handling these releases, I'm surprised you're still in fucking business today. I don't know how you're survived till today. I get on your hands and knees and thank the Tom Cruise god that he came around with Maverick, because I think you guys would have been under a long time ago if it wasn't for that. But I don't understand how you can be so fundamentally idiotic and do something this dumb. And it's crazy to me.
I just gotta say, maybe they need to show a little bit more confidence in their films. Maybe this deal to go on digital was signed a while ago that they have to. But I who cares how long after a film's in the theater when you release it on digital? At least let it have its run. I mean, if it's a bigger property that they have, even though it's like not like Maverick, but it's still the Quiet Place series. A lot of people do like these films. I mean, show a little bit more confidence. Give it its time in the theater at least, because it shows you that it bites you in the ass. Well, for this movie, because of the opening, right?
Yeah, I can already hear some people saying to me, well, John, like, do you really think A Quiet Place is going to be making a lot of money at the box office in 4 weeks? No, but it's not about what The Quiet Place might have been making in 4 weeks. It's about what it's going to make today. Because you just convinced a lot of people not to bother going. The movie's going to make some money still. There's still going to be some people that go, but you turned off a bunch of people. And again, that's only half the problem. The second half of the problem is you have now conditioned people to expect that they don't need to go to the movies and theaters because you're literally going to put them out in about 4 weeks. And this is just a great example. I've said this before, I will say it again. When people said VHS was going to kill the movie business said, no, it's not. When DVDs came out, everybody said, this is going to kill the movie business. And the movie business said, no, it's not. When we got upgraded to 4K and Blu-ray, everybody said, this is going to kill the movie business. Recordable 4K. And the movie business said, no, it is not. When streaming came around, everybody said, this is going to kill the movie business. The movie business said, no, it's not. When the movie business dies, the tombstone will read, death by suicide. It ain't going to be death by streaming. It's not death by Blu-ray. It's not death by TV. It's not death by the radio star. The headstone on the movie business will read death by suicide, because the absolute jackal cadre of morons running Paramount Studios are doing idiot things like this. And I hope you go under now because you're dumb. And it pains me to say that because I freaking love Paramount. I love that studio. But if you're going to be this stupid, you deserve it. I hope your stock continues to drop like a rock in the ocean, dude, because you have no business being in business.
Well, I wonder if someone over there is trying to devalue their company.
Now, today, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Paramount Plus.
Yes, it's a wonderful app, guys. So what you can do is...
There's our segue.
With now streaming Quiet Place Day One.
And again, I only get this riled up when it's something I like. Yeah. Like, if I hated Paramount, I wouldn't care. I go, well, Paramount did something stupid. But I actually really like Paramount. I like them a lot. I enjoy them. Yeah. I love their movies. I love their creativity. I love their history. I love Paramount. So it pisses me off more when I see them doing things like this.
I still love you.
Paramount is committing seppuku. Yep, that's about it. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Whatever your thoughts are, jump on down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we're going to take a quick second here and thank one of the sponsors of today's video. It is not Paramount Plus, surprisingly enough. No, it is my mobile service provider, and they should be yours. Our friends at Mint Mobile. You know when you discover a new binge-worthy show or a song that you bump on repeat and you have to share it with your friends so they can experience just how awesome it is? That's kind of what it feels like when you discover that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. It's such an awesome deal, there is no way you can keep it to yourself. My last mobile service provider was quite good, but ever since I switched to Mint Mobile, I've enjoyed even better coverage, better phone clarity, and I'm paying less than a third of what I paid to my old provider. Say goodbye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bills to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions may apply. See Mint Mobile for details. And thank you to my mobile service provider and the sponsor of today's episode, Mint Mobile. Okay, guys, with that down, let's move on to our next topic here, shall we? Paris, what do we got up next?
Yes, so Chris Pratt is obviously best known for playing the child kidnapping victim turned galactic hero, Star-Lord in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But he might have a change of scenery coming up. Pratt was recently photographed on the set of Superman visiting James Gunn, and now Pratt is saying he'd like to join Gunn in the new DCU. According to IGN, the actor told TMZ that he would, of course, be interested in being a part of the DCU, and there's always a chance if it could fit into my schedule and it made sense, I would love it. If it's right and the fans would love it, I'd be more than happy to do it. John, could you see Chris Pratt joining the DCU?
I 100% could see it happening. I mean, look, we've talked about this a few times, actually. When James Gunn had such a tight relationship with everybody in the Guardians of the Galaxy that, you know, between him, Dave Bautista burned his bridges at Disney for it because he loved James Gunn so much. Like, he had such a tight, wonderful relationship with all of them. And that includes Chris Pratt, who, I'm not going to say Chris Pratt wouldn't have gone on to become a star anyway, but I think it's fair to say, while we loved him in Parks and Rec, and I loved him in Parks and Rec, it was playing Peter Quill, Star-Lord, in Guardians of the Galaxy that made Chris Pratt a star. And I think he's always had an affinity for James Gunn with him. Okay. So, number one, I just think Chris Pratt is an incredibly entertaining guy. Even when he's in movies I don't necessarily really like, I love seeing him on screen. He's a terrific performer. And I'll say this, I know you guys have heard me say this before, but I think it's kind of worth mentioning, is that of all the movie stars I've met and hung out with and talked to and interviewed and whatever, I have, quite frankly, 100% never met one as nice, as friendly, as considerate, as just a joy to be around as Chris Pratt. He's just truly the most wonderful guy I've met in the business. He's amazing, to the point that I remember he came and hung out at our studio for an afternoon, and he talked to Anne a little bit. And then like 6 months later, I go to a press junket and I go in to interview Chris Pratt. I'm like interviewer number 48 of the day to go in and talk to him. I hadn't seen him in 6 months, nothing like that. Walk in, he stands up. He goes, John. I'm like, oh, hey, Chris, how you doing? He goes, great. How's Anne doing? Like, he hadn't seen Anne, talk to us, nothing like that in like 6 months. And the very first thing he says is, how's Anne doing? So I texted Anne that, totally made her year. But that's just the kind of guy he is. He's a super sweet guy. I love seeing him succeed. Anyway, so a lot of people will then say, well, John, he can't because he's in the MCU. That does not, like, there are people who have this belief that it's like, if you're in one thing, you can't be in another. That's not how Hollywood works. You can very easily be in a, Universal movie and in a Paramount movie. You might even be in 2 different movies that are coming out in the same month. Why am I freezing? Lawrence Fishburne. concurrently at the same time, while he was still our Perry White in DC, he also came over and played a role in Ant-Man 2. So you can very easily, he can still be Star-Lord and be Booster Gold and be Nightwing, depending on how old they wanted to make their Batman. He could still come over to DC and be something else, right?
A Lantern or whatever.
Yeah, one of the maybe, you know what? Maybe he's a Kyle Rayner. Maybe he's a Kyle Rayner Green Lantern. Maybe a little bit old for Kyle Rayner, but why not? But a lot of people could see him as Booster Gold, what have you, whatever. So, number one, I think he would be a great addition to James Gunn's DCU. Number two, I think they've already shown the two of them work beautifully together because the Guardians movies are fantastic. And number three, there's nothing preventing a Chris Pratt from being in a movie for Marvel and for DC and for Universal and for Lionsgate and for Paramount and for Warner. As an actor, you can do all of that. As long as you're not filming at the exact same time, you're good. So I, for one, would love it. And I'll be honest with you too. I think there's already more to it than this. Like, I know when the set photos came out of him on the set of Superman visiting James Gunn saying, oh, no, it's just him coming to visit James. And that very well could be true. I'm going to put on my conspiracy theory hat. I think he's already signed on to DC. I think he's already there. I think it's already done. I think him and James have already decided you're going to be in a DC movie and this is who you're going to play. I have nothing to back that up with. I have no proof of that. This is just me speculating as a fan. But I think it's already done. And I don't think it stops him from still coming back to Marvel and appearing as Star-Lord in another movie there. And I think it's perfectly fine.
I definitely support it. I'm
this idea?
I'm a Chris Pratt stan, so I think put him in all the roles. I think he'll be great.
Let me ask you, what's your favorite Chris Pratt thing?
Oh, now that's hard. Ooh, because it's so, I feel like no one's gonna agree, but I really did like him in Parks and Rec.
As Andy, he's incredible.
I can watch Parks and Rec over and over and over, and it's just to watch him as Andy. He just cracked me up. But I don't know if I have a favorite, but I know I watch Parks and Rec all the time, so I have to say that one.
Well, do you remember the backlash? Like, we talk about it now, but do you remember the backlash when Andy's gonna be Star-Lord? Andy's gonna be a superhero.
Yeah.
You were like, the chubby guy from Parks and Rec is gonna be a superhero. It was like, essentially, it was the Michael Keaton effect when he became Batman. It was like, Mr. Mom is going to be Batman.
Andy was a little roly-poly.
Yeah.
Right? And even when Pratt came into our offices, he was in the middle of filming Guardians of the Galaxy, and he had clearly changed his body shape. But he's like, it was my birthday on set, and they had to give me a literal cake made of fruit. Not a fruit cake, but literally a cake made of just fruit. So that was, or remember the backlash when they announced he was going to be the voice of Mario? Oh, this is going to suck now. This is going to suck. Like, guess what? $1.3 billion later.
Let's go.
Then everybody said, what? He's going to be the voice of Garfield. How stupid is that? That movie just quadrupled its production budget.
That's right.
I feel like I'm missing all the backlash because I'm like, oh, he's going to do great. Of course. So I don't even pay attention to this noise.
People seem to really love Chris Pratt, but they like him in what they like him in. They don't want to see him do other things. They don't want him going off with some other girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Do you think Pratt will ultimately end up in DC? I think he will, but I think he'll do that and still continue to be Star-Lord. Maybe you think, John, it's what it looks like. He was simply there visiting a friend. And like any actor, he's saying, sure, he would do it if it was right. I don't know. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to our next topic here, shall we? Paris, what do we got up next?
All right. Well, it looked like two highly anticipated movies, Wicked and Moana 2, were both going to release on the same day, but not anymore as one film has moved, at least a little. So according to Variety, Wicked, Universal's film adaptation of the hit Broadway show, is now landing in theaters on November 22nd, 5 days ahead of schedule. So it was originally supposed to open on November 27th, the same day as Disney's Moana 2. So, John, was this the right move for Wicked to change dates?
Okay, so yes, Yes.
Questionable?
Here's what I mean by that. Look, we actually talked about the whole Wicked Moana 2 thing a few weeks ago because this was not going to be a Barbenheimer thing because these were not two polar opposite movies that were both big and opening on the same day and attracting different audiences. This is Wicked and Moana 2, and they were going to attract the exact same demographic. They're going to attract families, young girls, kids, people who love the Broadway show on one hand, but, you know, again, Moana, a 7-year-old film, was the #1 streaming movie in America last year, even though it was 7 years old. I mean, them going head to head was a non-starter, right? That was not going to work for either of them. We knew one of them was going to move. So Wicked decides to be the one that moves. But there's two very interesting things here. Number one, it only moved by 5 days. So while you're not opening on the same day as Moana, you are probably in for a very rude second weekend when Moana 2 comes out. But the second thing is this. They jumped out of the frying pan into the fire. Because according to Variety, moving 5 days early, that's great. But now Wicked is set to debut on the same day as Paramount, if they're still in business by the time this thing comes around. They're set to come out on the same day that Paramount and Ridley Scott's historical epic Gladiator 2. Though there's presumably much less overlap in the audience and thus a threat of cannibalization. So you got a little bit more of a Barbenheimer possibility on that day, right? Because it's, you know, Gladiator 2 and Wicked, some crossover, sure, but not exactly going after the same demographic. But still, stiff competition in Gladiator 2. And then a few days later, Moana 2 opens. I think it was the right idea to move. I mean, it would have been the right idea for either one of them to move. If Moana moved, I would have said that's the right idea. Wicked moves. But I think you got to move at least 2 weeks away from it because, yeah, you're going to enjoy your opening weekend, but then your second weekend's just going to get its knees knocked out.
It'd be a much bigger drop now.
Yeah. And so now I wouldn't worry too much about Gladiator 2 because, guys, you don't need to go see it in the theaters because Paramount will be idiots and they'll just put it out on streaming in about 4 weeks after it comes out. So don't worry about that. Cool. Don't worry about Gladiator 2. I'm just telling everybody now, take a pass on Gladiator 2. If you want to watch it, all you got to do is wait 4 weeks till after it comes out. You can watch it at home. So, right move, yes, but not far enough. So, Ray.
No, don't ask me anything ever.
Okay, Moana 2 and Wicked are coming out same day. Okay, let's say they come out on the same day. And we make plans to go to the movies.
Wicked.
Yeah. Wicked's the one you're saying. Got any particular reason?
Just because I seen the first Moana and then we went to that CinemaCon and just the emotion,
presentation for Wicked was so good.
That the actors, the directors showed really showed me at least how much making this film took out of them.
Oh yeah.
Like it looked like they just were so happy, were so proud, but yet so tired, and just like of the whole experience. I just want to see that play out in this movie. I'll watch it with like different eyes, knowing what we saw at CinemaCon. Because John Chu almost like shed a tear when he was like talking about the movie.
And dude, listen, and they did this big presentation too on how much they relied. There's clearly obviously some CGI and some digital in this, but they went at length to talk about how much they made practical effects to the point that even something that could have been easily done in CGI, like a rolling hill with flour, they talked about they brought in from around the world like 4 million flowers or something like that to decorate this set and stuff like that. Yep. And they truly have tried to make, whether they succeed or not, we'll find out, but they have at least tried to make a true Hollywood epic with this film.
And plus, there was a time where Wicked was in the plays, right? They were like they're like on Broadway.
Oh, yeah, that's where it got its popularity.
I never got into it, so I don't know the story of Wicked at all. So that's another thing that's intriguing me. I do want to see what this movie is about, and so I'm pretty excited for it.
I've seen it 3 times on Broadway.
The stage play?
Yeah, twice in New York and in LA. I'm a Broadway nerd. Wicked's probably top 3 for me. So,
wow.
I'm so excited. Ariana and Cynthia have such a great chemistry already. Their press run has been like, oh wow, their voices are phenomenal. I'm stoked. It's always gonna be Wicked for me over Moana.
And then the two of them came out on stage together when we were at CinemaCon this year. They two of them came out. It was really great. But again, do not underestimate Moana. Again, how often do you get a 7-year-old movie that dominated streaming last year? Like more than any other film. More than Avatar, more than Wakanda Forever, more than anything, Moana streamed. It is a huge powerhouse right now. I just don't really know that I get the strategy of only moving 5 days.
You can't ask me which one I would watch without answering that yourself.
Oh, okay. So obviously I want to see both. I do. But if they were still coming out on the same day, dude, there's this line where the sky meets the sea.
Yeah, and
it calls me.
So which I wonder which that is.
So you would watch Moana.
I think I would go to see Moana 2 first. Yeah.
But we're in agreement. We're gonna watch both.
Oh, we're definitely gonna see both.
Which one you're gonna watch first? That's
I think I would have to lean Moana because I've never seen the stage play.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. So Anne's seen the stage play. She loves it. So out of curiosity, you said it's top 3. What other ones would be up there in your top 3?
It's honestly Lion King number 1.
Lion King's
that
great.
On Broadway, it's incredible on Broadway, and then Rent is second.
Ooh,
yeah,
2,700,000. I don't know what the number of seconds it is, but
125,000. I can't sing, but I pretend
minutes.
to. Yeah,
mine is still Les Mis. That's
okay.
Les Mis is my. I think it's Les Mis, then Lion King. And what would be my third?
Maybe Book of Mormon and Lion King.
Book of Mormon and Lion King. I never did see Book of Mormon.
You didn't go see it?
No, Anne went a couple times, but I didn't go with her.
Yeah, it's very good.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, it's no surprise that one of Wicked or Moana were going to move. They were never going to open on the same day, but are you surprised that it only moved 5 days? Right move, wrong move? Maybe you still think, even though I doubt it, that we could get like a Barbenheimer effect here. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's get to our last main topic here today, shall we? Paris, what's up next?
All right. So as many of you know, Paramount was recently involved in talks with several parties who were interested in buying the iconic Hollywood studio. Those negotiations failed, but that hasn't stopped Paramount from trying to find a strategic partner. And now they might have found one. According to Variety, one potential streaming dance partner for Paramount is Warner Brothers Discovery. So a source confirmed WBD's preliminary interest in evaluating a streaming joint venture with Paramount Global, possibly merging the Max and Paramount Plus services. So John, would merging Max and Paramount Plus be a good move?
All right. So setting aside the complete incompetence of all the leadership at Paramount for a moment, I'm going to surprisingly say yes. This would be a good move. And I'm going to tell you what, this is one of those rare situations where I think it'd be a win for both of them. Were this to go in and happen, it would be clearly a win for Paramount because they need a strategic joint venture. They absolutely need a partner here because Paramount is hemorrhaging money when it comes to Paramount Plus. It is a consistent year-over-year money loser. And I say this as a subscriber and a fan. I like my Paramount Plus. I like firing up Paramount Plus. Are you kidding me? They got some fabulous stuff on there, and I enjoy Paramount Plus. I mean, I'm not going to lie and say it's my favorite streaming service, but I like it very much. But it is hemorrhaging money to the nth degree. They really need a streaming partner. Max is a really interesting partner because Max carries with it, once they put the name HBO back in the name, they carry with it the prestige. They are definitely event kind of television. They have historically made the greatest television, most consistently over the last 20 years, the highest consistent level of excellence in television in the world. Nobody else has come close to them. Netflix has had some great stuff. Apple TV Plus is certainly making a good case for itself. But over the past 20 years, there is nobody, not traditional broadcast, not streaming, nothing, that has come close to the overall quality of the iconic shows that HBO. They're running one right now with House of the Dragon. But they have some areas they could have filled in. and adding even more high branded quality content into it would be interesting. Now, I just want to go over a couple of things here. Right now, like for instance, Paramount Plus, because a fair question asks, well, what does Paramount Plus have? 1923, 1883, which is fabulous. I loved 1883. Rob's favorite, literally his favorite, Picard, season 3. One of my favorite things on TV right now, Mayor of Kingstown. Guys, I know I say this all the time, but if you have not started watching Mayor of Kingstown, watch it. It's phenomenal. I love this show. Or even just want to jump over and look at some of the movies they've got. So Mean Girls, well, I don't really care, but I know a lot of people do. A lot of people love their Mean Girls. Stop trying to make it a thing. Mission Impossible films over there. Clueless is a classic. Big Short. I love Breakfast at Tiffany's. One of the highest grossing films of all time. Titanic. The Godfather is over there. By the way, speaking of series too, The Offer is on Paramount. Again, another show on Paramount that if you've not watched The Offer, you've got to watch. Look, the whole point is that while Paramount Plus certainly isn't Netflix and they're certainly not, HBO Max, they have a lot of high quality content. But here's the real win for Warner Brothers. All right. This is the real win for Warner Brothers. You merge in a Paramount Plus, and I don't know, you call it HBO Mount. I don't know.
Paramax.
Paramount. No, you don't put Paramount's name first.
You have to.
Clearly, this is not an even partnership, but
well, max amount, because it's the max amount of content you can view.
No, they got to put HBO something. But regardless, whatever that is, the first benefit, yes, you're getting some really high quality content merged in with HBO Max. But here's the second big benefit. Paramount movies then have a future streaming home. So when A Quiet Place Day 1 comes out and they completely screw it up by putting it onto home digital in 30 days, whatever, eventually its home can be on there. When the next Top Gun movie comes out, its future streaming home will be on that service. You now have an entire historic production studio in Paramount, and I like a lot of the movies they make, man. They will now already have a pre-built-in future streaming home. And so for Paramount, it's a lifeline, and it puts them with a key strategic partner. For Warner Brothers, you get double benefit. One, an infusion of some really top quality content now, but also you add another pipeline for content in the future. And yeah, this is one of those things that I just think work. And listen, there wouldn't be any problems with the FTC or anything like that because they are the smaller players in the game. This isn't like Netflix and Disney Plus announcing a merger. That would get some government scrutiny. But you're talking about some of the smaller streaming services that are lagging behind the others, and I don't think it would face any government problems. So, and again, I don't know if we're talking about a pure Paramount being bought out by Warner Brothers. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Warner Brothers and Paramount making an agreement to merge in the two streaming services. Obviously, HBO Max would be the more predominant one, and I just don't see a downside right now.
Maybe Warner Brothers would require a certain release window too onto streaming.
How good would that be? That would be saving Paramount from themselves.
Yeah.
If they did something like that. But I don't know, guys, can you think of a potential downside to this? Like, I'm just trying to think positively about all the upsides.
I found this image here. I don't necessarily agree. I can't like back it up with facts, but it's interesting how, the comparison and complementary of a male skewed Max, female skewed Paramount, scripted versus unscripted, lean in content versus lean back, comfort viewing versus appointment viewing for Max, home of fandoms, home of genredoms. So I do think that there is a good complementary symbiosis there between the two.
Yeah, I think it could work, especially if they just keep a price point at where it's at.
Right.
And that gives me one less thing I need to subscribe to.
Yep, I'm for that.
I mean, I think it could be a win. Again, I'm sure there are downsides that once I think about it for another 24 hours, I'll think of some potential pitfalls. But honestly, guys, for me right now, the only thing I can really think is that I think this would be a double-sided win. I think this would work for both of them. A question is for you guys. What do you think? Would you be one to jump up and subscribe to Max. I want to say cock, but I can't because this isn't a Peacock thing.
Why? You just said it.
It's like you fit, like I'm just so used to fitting in Peacock in there somewhere. Anyway, whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we're now going to move on to the most important part of our show, which is taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second to thank another sponsor of today's episode, our friends over at BetterHelp. We want to thank a sponsor of today's episode, BetterHelp. You know, guys, it's one of the most unfortunate human tendencies that we have to try to compare our life to others. And social media plays a big part of that. Comparison is like the thief of joy, and it's easy to envy other people's lives because on the surface, it might look like they have it all together on their Instagram or YouTube, but in reality, they probably don't. Therapy can help you focus on what you want instead of what others have, so you can start living your best life. Give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. So get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Campea today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at BetterHelp for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys. That down, let's get over to your questions here, shall we? Paris, what we got up first?
All right, we have Jonathan Nimela writes, hello, John and crew. My question, why don't big studios share marketing for Hollywood independent films with their tentpole movies by each studio? Why is not double feature get choice a Hollywood blockbuster with Hollywood independent films as an option?
No idea what you're asking.
Yeah, I mean, like pulling like together the cost of marketing. But the thing is that the way that studios run their movies is that they're separate companies. You take out separate debt to run those productions. They're not all merged. Like there's a misconception that the overarching studio runs all of the movies together as one big company. Each movie is its own company, you know? And so they run separately.
And here's the thing, it's like anything in business, you put more money into things that you think will make you more money, right? Like, so when Disney puts a record amount of money into the marketing of Endgame, they know that they are going to get a return on that investment. With some of the smaller independent films, they're hesitant to put in heavier marketing if they don't believe there's upside with it there. So, and like you can't cross promote. So that just doesn't work in the business either. So, but I mean, listen, there's so much money spent on marketing that definitely they're always going to be looking for new creative avenues to do it more cost effectively. Maybe that'll be one of them. All right, what's next?
1 second. I just, this thing just bumped. So I'm trying to scroll to the thing. Sorry guys, apologies.
No problem.
We got, it like mixed it up and it bumped our, our super chats here. So I believe we are on M. Watson.
Who do we leave off?
M. Watson.
All right. M. Watson writes, fellow Canuck here, enjoying the holiday. Is that how you say Canuck?
Yep.
All right, enjoying the holiday. Happy Canada Day. Not sporting a Canada shirt today. What's your most memorable Canadian film or TV show first comes to mind? His is Regenesis. It's a show in 2004 and Cube Film in 97. The Assignment in 97 and of course SCTV.
Well, of course SCTV, but honestly, my favorite Canadian TV show ever is one that was just out a number of years ago.
Heartland.
And what's that?
Heartland.
Oh, no, that would be my dad. Why my dad likes that show, I have no idea. But my dad loves Heartland. It's Schitt's Creek.
Oh.
I was floored by that show. And again, it became the first show in Emmy history to win in the same year Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Writer, Best Director, Best Show. No other show's ever done that in Emmy history. It's just so incredible. Kyle in the live chat also, I mentioned what I was about to say, Kids in the Hall. I used to do a weekly radio show with one of the guys in Kids in the Hall too.
Kids in the Hall.
Kids in the Hall was great. By the way, Kim's Convenience is right up there with Schitt's Creek as well. It's one of the most magnificent comedies I've ever seen. And as far as my favorite Canadian movie of all time, guys, come on.
Guys.
Any Canadian is going to know how to answer this.
Come on.
It's the Great White North, man. It's Strange Brew.
I was gonna say Strange Brew
with Bob and Doug McKenzie.
I don't know if
it
this counts, but Canada is heavily featured in it, and I loved it in the mid-90s. It was John Candy's last film, but Canadian Bacon.
Oh, Canadian Bacon is fantastic.
I used to love that movie.
Not a Canadian film, though.
No. So it doesn't really count, but
No.
yeah.
So it doesn't count. Anyway, all right, what's next?
All right, it'll be anonymous. Would be the
South Park movie. Played in Canada.
Anonymous writes, the new show on Netflix, Supercell, is brilliant. It's about 5 normal people from South London getting superpowers. Highly recommended. I just binged 3 episodes.
Okay, so yesterday I start coming across articles of basically headlines like, here's a new Netflix show you gotta binge while waiting for the next episode of The Boys. And this new superhero show on Netflix has 100% Rotten Tomatoes rating. And I'm like, what is this? And so I read about it this morning, Supercell. I'm like, okay. And all I saw was a couple of stills. And I'm like, I'm probably going to have to give this a watch. So you're the first person to write in about it, but I've been reading about it a lot in the last 48 hours. So I'm definitely going to give this one, check this one out.
The trailer looked really, really cool.
Oh, I haven't seen the trailer.
Yeah, it looks so. I don't even know why I haven't started because I was already hooked. And then I read all the YouTube comments under the trailer and then I didn't watch it. But I got to start. I will.
All right. What's next?
All right, Drew Gretsch writes, for me, House of Dragon has topped Andor, Shogun, and The Last of Us as the best show on television. I'm in awe each and every week. It rivals the original Game of Thrones series in my mind.
It's magnificent. Yeah. I still don't think it tops Shogun. I still think Shogun is the top of the class right now, but regardless of what order you put them in, currently running shows that we have like Last of Us, Andor, House of the Dragon, Shogun. We have some The Boys. We have some absolutely magnificent television running right now. And yeah, I still personally put Shogun at the top, but House of the Dragon is like way better than it has any business being. It's so good. All right, what's next?
Here you go, Kevin.
Kevin F. writes, hey, John, I see you made a bit of a change in show format. I like how you are always open to try new things. Welcome, Paris. Thank you. Great Monday show.
Oh, thank you. We had a lot of fun yesterday.
Yeah,
I'm always trying to take it like, you know what was great? I wanted this to be the case, but I found this out. So I wanted something that was I wanted to change the format a little bit to something a little bit more reminiscent of what I used to do for a format back in my AMC days, which was to have like somebody, because normally I do a 3 to 5 minute preamble on a story, setting up context and giving background and giving the information on the story. And then after 3 to 5 minutes, start commentary, right? And what I wanted to do was get somebody in who was like a really good presenter to like highlight the story and sum up the story in like 30 to 45 seconds, and then jump right into commentary. It is actually, even though it sounds like a small change, it's actually a drastic change in presentation style. And we did it yesterday for the first time, and I liked it a lot. And here's the key thing. I didn't even talk to Jonathan Ray about this. But normally when you go through our segments in a day, they range between 8 to about 13 minutes. We didn't have a single segment yesterday over 10 minutes. And I can't remember the last time that happened. And so you could feel that it was just flowing really well, and I really enjoyed it. And I was super thrilled that Paris agreed to come on and help us get this new format kind of put in place. And yeah, I'm really excited about it. And I always like to try to tinker things to make a better presentation for our audience if we can. All right, what's next?
All right. Bri Guy D. Stringham writes, Despicable Me 5, Minions 3, and other spin-off movies that could happen. The earliest that one of those movies would be released is sometime either in the summer of 2027 or 2028. Any thoughts, you guys? I'm off to see Despicable Me 4 this week. Bananas.
First of all, I can't believe that's coming out this week.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited for it. I love the Despicable. I did not like Despicable Me 3 so much. That's the one where Gru finds his twin brother. Didn't like that one as much, but All the other Minion movies, all the other Despicable Me's, I really like. They showed us a good chunk of the film over at CinemaCon this year. Looks fantastic. Can't wait to watch it. I have to admit, I have no idea what it is you're asking. Like, what are my thoughts on what?
That they could happen, absolutely, 100%, depending on the box office.
Oh yeah, listen. There's definitely going to be more Minions and Despicable Me films. This is just them printing money.
It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see the drop now of Inside Out 2 with Minions this weekend.
Well, I mean, the reality is it's going to be its fourth weekend, right?
So it's got to drop at some point.
Yeah, it's first of all, I'm really impressed that Inside Out 2 managed to win the box office 3 weekends in a row.
Yeah.
Already crossed the $1 billion mark. One of the biggest animated films of all time now, like huge. So yeah, you got to assume there's going to be a significant drop off, but we're already in weekend 4 for it. So they've already made their money. So good on them. Now the question is going to be, how big will Despicable Me 4 be? Mm-hmm. It could be bigger than Inside Out.
I know people are excited for it.
Yeah, so. I'm excited for it too. All right, what's next?
All right, Twilight Boy writes.
Twilight Boy.
I love that. All right, The Last Jedi is my third favorite. It's surprising me every time. The Last Jedi is my third favorite Star Wars movie, but at the same time, I hate it. I hate what it did to nerd culture. I hate that after it, there's nothing more but vitriol on Star Wars fandom. I wish Ryan just made a predictable sequel that didn't upset anyone.
You know, it is really a shame, because here's what happens. This is what happens, and it's so predictable. Now, there are things about The Last Jedi that I really love. There really are. There are things about that movie I love, and things about the movie that I really didn't like. I mean, I was at the world premiere of it, and as soon as I came out of the world premiere, my first tweet, this is back when I was still on Twitter, my very first tweet was, okay, things I liked about the movie, but I really didn't like A, B, C, and D. But whatever, for me, it was a middle of the road movie. It was a middle of the road movie. And I know Rian Johnson, being a massive Star Wars fan, really wanted to make something that he hoped the fans would love and get on board with. And let's just say they did not. A lot of them didn't. But, you know, it just goes all the way back to the prequels. I mean, the prequels, a lot of people try to rewrite history today. A lot of people try to lie to you and deceive you and trick you into thinking that, oh, no, people love the prequels. No. Like, literally, people made movies about how much they hated the prequels. I mean, it got toxic. It got really bad. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that carried over. Maybe some people vengeance hating. I don't know. But, like, for me, it wasn't a great movie. Rise of Skywalker was a truly horrible movie, which I just couldn't find anything redeeming about that one. But it definitely brought out a thing. But this is where the pattern, the oh so predictable pattern happens, because a bunch of people said a bunch of bigoted and racist things about The Last Jedi. Not everybody, but there were a bunch of people who said a bunch of backward thinking, knuckle dragging, basement dwelling, cousin humping things. And then what happens is somebody like Rian Johnson calls out those things. Well, then the people who get called out, and this is where it's become, this is their just standard playbook now. The people who got called out turned around on their blogs and podcasts and YouTube channels and headline, Rian Johnson says anybody who doesn't like his movie is a bigot and a racist.
Yeah, everybody.
It's like, no, that's not what Rian Johnson said. Rian Johnson said you're a bigot and a racist because you said bigoted and racist things. He did not say anybody. He didn't say I was a bigot and a racist, even though I had some pretty critical things to say about the movie. He didn't say that about other people I know who didn't like the movie for legitimate reasons. He just called out the bigoted and racist stuff he saw, but it's become the common playbook now, right? Like Kathleen Kennedy, who I believe should be gone, but Kathleen Kennedy calls out certain behaviors online and says like this happens, this isn't acceptable. And then sure enough, right on time, right like clockwork, they come out, Kathleen Kennedy says if you don't like her new Star Wars, you're this. No, she didn't. And it's the common straw man argument, guilt deflection, right? They play the victim. It's pathetic. That's why these are sniveling individuals. But it is what it is, become very predictable. And yes, definitely part of that I think it kind of found its birth really with The Last Jedi. I think that's really where I first really noticed that them adopting that dark little corner of snivelry, adopting into their playbook the straw man argumenting of, wait a minute, that person called us out for saying this. Let's say that they're calling any fan who doesn't like, and you still see it today. It happens all the time, and it's absolutely pathetic. Anyway, all right, what's next?
Get ready for it.
Twilight Boy writes, and some say this would have happened regardless, but I just don't know. The fact all this extreme hatred and anti-woke BS started right when it released and not with A Force Awakens or Rogue One tells me this wouldn't have happened if it wasn't so divisive.
Well, no, I mean, it started. I remember like Newsweek doing giant stories when the Force Awakens was just starting its trailer, right? Like, don't fall into the temptation of rewriting history. I remember Newsweek did a big article on this, that when the first trailer for The Phantom Menace came out, and people were jumping on Rotten Tomatoes, that deleted a lot of them. A lot of it was some really toxic, racist bullshit. Like about, there's no black storm, like there's stuff I wouldn't even repeat today, but like all this stuff and got listed in these articles. And then people pretend, that didn't happen. Yes, it did. So no, it didn't happen. It didn't start with the Last Jedi. It did not start there. Believe me, it started even before The Phantom Menace came out. Or before The Force Awakens came out. It started well before that. All right, what's next?
All right, Your Name writes, Cinemark's recent secret movie was Fly Me to the Moon. Although I purchased the ticket without knowing it would be the movie playing. Does the purchase still count toward the movie's initial weekend box office?
That's a very good question. First of all, one of our viewers wrote in yesterday to say Fly Me to the Moon was going to be the secret movie. And I immediately tried to talk in and going, but she had already had plans with her mother and brother. So there was that. Big important Sam's Club trip.
Yeah.
Kept me from going.
Sam's Club, baby. You know what I got yesterday?
What do you get?
It's called apple pie puffs. So
apple
they're like
pie
cheese
puffs?
They're like cheese puffs, but they taste like apple pie. I'm going back to buy the whole pallet because, man, I went through those like so fast. They're so good. You got to try them. I still have some.
All right, I will try them. But it did keep me from going to see Fly Me to the Moon, which is too bad. But does the secret screening, does that count towards the box office? Because there's one of two ways that could be answered. Either one, yes, it does. And even though it's only like $5 or something like that.
Right. That's what I was going to ask. It's discounted, right?
Or it is discounted. The secret screenings are absolutely discounted. Or the studios write it off as a marketing expense and just let it be a part of a secret screening program in an attempt to hopefully get positive word of mouth out about the movie. So, you know, it's a very good question that I don't have the answer to. I will ask some theater managers I know to see like, hey, you know, what happens to the box office here? Because I think that's a really good question. All right. And I do want to see that movie very much. All right. What's next?
Mexico Valley's Jose says, Hola amigos, Rhaenyra's face at the very last moment of episode 3 totally fascinated me. Having been challenged, betrayed, hurt, stressed out, questioned, pestered, that subtle, unprecedented expression of renewed legitimacy, what an actress.
Yeah, listen, I did an open mic yesterday, and what I said was, you know, acolyte, take note. This is what happens when the magic that happens when you get a marriage of fantastic writing with brilliant performers. When you have the two, true magic can happen. And there's 3 things that happened in that scene that I think is a top 5 scene ever in the history of Game of Thrones shows. When Alicent and Rhaenyra are in the Septum and they're talking and all this stuff is happening. First of all, brilliant thing number 1. When Alicent expresses, I have been unkind, but I have never been untrue. And that sinks into to Rhaenyra for a second. She realizes Alicent's never lied to me. She doesn't lie. And that moment, there was no dialogue, no words. It was just the look on her face when, for the first time ever, she doubted, like, wait a minute, did my dad pass my throne on to my little brother? Mm-hmm. Like just for a second, and they just, no words, just her face. Like she started, oh my God, did he choose Aegon over me at the last minute? So that was brilliant thing number one. Brilliant thing number two was when the whole thing about the Song of Fire and Ice came up. And she's like, no, Aegon the Conqueror. And Alicent then had her moment to be,
oh no.
Oh shit. What? And that it dawns on her, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. And so she has her moment of having that, what she thought was rock solid truth, now crumble away for her. So that was brilliant moment number two. Brilliant moment number three was as Alicent left and said, it's too late. By the way, she was right. Alicent wasn't just being petty. She was right. At that point, it's too late. And she's walking off. It comes back to Alicent and exactly what you just pointed out. That any doubt, any apprehension she may have had about the legitimacy of her claim was now solidified and gone. And you're right, that moment of justification. She realized, okay, it's 100% now. Even Alicent realizes it. And we all knew, Otto knew it already, when he said in that brilliant scene to Aegon, and Aegon says, my father chose me. And Otto says, is that what you think? One of the best lines ever.
Yeah, to that snotty nose
to
kid.
that little rat kid.
That little stupid kid.
Just the show's so good.
Yeah.
And the dumb face.
And the dumb face.
There's no dumber face on television right now than when he is asked a question and they pan on his
You know what
face.
Aegon should do? Become a Paramount executive. Just saying. Anyway, okay. Great show. Love it. All right, what's
job.
next?
All right, Anonymous says, it's always fun to roast a bad movie at times, but the YouTubers who hate everything and put googly eyes on their thumbnails and their viewers need to reevaluate things. There's plenty of good stuff no matter which side of the culture war you're on.
Listen, I 100% acknowledge it can be really fun to rag on things that are bad. 100% it is. 100%. Look, I've said it before, I will say it again. I understand sex sells and hate gets clicks. It does. So I understand the persuasive and seductive nature to kind of whore yourself and whore your channel out to do nothing but attract hate clicks because it works. It does. It works. And so I acknowledge that. For me personally, though, I have always had a rule for myself. Many of you guys have heard me say this many times, is that while I will definitely have things that come across my desk that I'll dislike, that'll outrage me, whatever. Today we talked about Paramount's decision and how they're going to do that, right? That pisses me off. But we talked about 8 other things that I really enjoyed. I've always had a rule for myself that I want to make sure when I go to the front page of my YouTube channel, I run through all my videos, that there's at least an 80-20 ratio of me focusing on and talking about things I'm excited about or things I like. Because that's what I want to do online. I want to be the kind of fan that likes to focus on and talk about the things I like. Yes, every once in a while, we're going to have to talk about things that bother us and things that bug us and things we don't like. Absolutely, that happens. But I always want that ratio to be 80-20, which is one of the reasons why I am not watching The Acolyte tonight, because I have tapped out of The Acolyte.
You know, and also there's sometimes it's very difficult for me to distinguish between like a video that's like about hating on something, but also a video that maybe is trying to change the way the studios are treating a property they love. It's really hard work to like differentiate it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like some people sometimes they bring up the negative stuff in order to bring change. They want to bring change to the way their property is being treated or their property. I'm saying, but then there's also the videos that are just there just to like this sucks, this sucks, this sucks. Sometimes it's really hard for me to tell where a video's going with what the purpose of a video that's put up.
Oh, keep watching, you'll get it.
Yeah.
You can pick up in the first 2 minutes when a video that's just trying to encourage change is legitimate, and then what is just there to attract the other people who hate something.
Right.
And you can tell, because there are both. They're absolutely, like I said earlier when we were talking about Paramount, like I wouldn't get upset if it wasn't about something that I really liked, which is Paramount. I love Paramount. And I love AMC theaters, which is why sometimes when we talk about AMC, I get really upset because I actually really legitimately care about them. I want them to do well and I want them to succeed. Same with that. But then you can tell the people that, no, you don't love them and want them to do well, want them to succeed. You hate them and you want it to burn to the ground. And you can obviously see the difference. All right, what's next?
All right. Cyclone says, love the bear. Woo! The characters are amazing. Jeremy Allen White is coming up and was good in the Iron Claw. If they ever make a Gene Wilder biopic, I think he'd be perfect casting to play him. Wilder is one of the greatest.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I don't see him as a good Gene Wilder.
I don't think so.
I mean, if you're saying that's because there's some physical similarities, okay, but his acting style, I don't think. By the way, Jeremy Allen White is another great example of something we were talking about earlier with the Horizon thing, that audiences today don't necessarily follow because The Bear is super popular, winning all these awards, and nobody saw Iron Claw.
Yeah.
Iron Claw is really good, by the way. You should definitely check it out because Jeremy Allen White's great in it. Zac Efron's fantastic in it. You should definitely check it out. But again, another good example that they didn't necessarily follow him. So I hope he's able to build a great career post The Bear because he totally deserves it. All right, what's next?
All right. South Texas Shark says, Paris, so I thought this was going to be a nice and professional podcast, but minutes later, talks of balls on tables and farting in theaters happened.
Have you ever watched our show?
I mean, I was prepared. I did know what I was getting myself into. I welcome the fart talks.
Paris has seen episodes of the show before. She knew what she's getting into.
Yeah, I was just warning people. Like, when it's that quiet, be prepared for accidents to happen.
I remember the very first piece of advice that Jonathan, producer Jonathan, gave Paris when she came in. It was sage advice, too. The very first piece of advice he gave her was, okay, so Ray, never listen to a thing he says. That's the very first piece of advice.
Good advice.
That Jonathan gave.
Working well for you now.
Because Ray was instantly trying to lead Paris down into the mire. I won't repeat what he said. See, no, Paris, first thing you should say is blah, 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 blah. And Jonathan's like, no, don't say that. And never listen to anything Ray says.
Welcome to football.
Welcome to football. All right, what's next?
All right. The Tick says, after hearing the hype for a year, I finally checked out the acclaimed and multi-award winning The Bear. And I'm glad it has an audience and fan base. Tapped out partway through season 2.
Oh, no.
At least she got through season 2, though. He gave it a shot. Or she.
Yeah, hey,
whoever.
listen, you gave it a legit. Nobody can say you didn't give it a legit shot if you got all the way through season 1. Listen, that's the beautiful thing about the art. It's never going to hit everybody the same way, right? There are people who don't necessarily like The Godfather. It's not that they have bad tastes. They like lots of movies that I like and hate a lot of movies I hate. But, just art hits us all in different ways at different times. And you watched The Bear, you definitely gave it a legitimate shot, and it wasn't hitting you in the same way that it hits other people. There's nothing wrong with that. So, but good on you for giving it a shot though, man. All right, what's next?
All right, Bry Guy D. Stringham says, it's not likely at all, but I would love to see Quentin Tarantino step out of his comfort zone and try to write and direct at least one family-oriented film in his career. For example, do a reimagined take on a public domain story, Treasure Island.
I mean, I've been saying for a long time.
Samuel L. Jackson in that Treasure Island.
Not all the F-bombs.
I love Quentin Tarantino. I love most of his films. Death Proof not being one of them, but almost all of his other films I absolutely adore. But the one thing I have said that from my perspective, that keeps Quentin from being truly known as one of the all-time greats is the fact that I feel like he can only really make one kind of movie. Like, you don't have to watch any one of his movies for more than 5 minutes to go, this is a Quentin Tarantino movie, right? Like, they all have kind of the same. And by the way, I love them, right? Give me Inglourious Bastards and give me Django and give me all that stuff. I love them, but he kind of has a very specific sandbox that he plays in, and he's very good in it. Mm-hmm. But I've said for a long time, I love the idea of a Quentin Tarantino, maybe not a family-friendly film, but maybe like a straight-up comedy. Or when the rumors started coming out, well, it wasn't rumors, it was true, that he was looking at doing a Star Trek film. Remember that a few years ago? Part of the reason I got so excited about that was, yes, because I want to see what Quentin Tarantino does. Like, when you look at somebody like a Steven Spielberg, and one of the many reasons that Steven Spielberg is the GOAT, the greatest of all time, is that not just that he's made some of the greatest movies ever, but he's made greatest movies ever in multiple genres. He can do a Schindler's List, right? And he can do a Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Mm-hmm. And he can do E.T. And he can do Jaws. And he can do
West Side Story.
War Horse. And he can do West Side Story.
And Terminal, baby.
And Terminal, of course. But
I mean, wait, John. Have you seen The Terminal?
Yes.
Did you like it?
Right, I'm so sorry. I wouldn't put that on a list of favorites.
Good girl. Good girl. Yes.
I can see your hype about it, though.
Did you think it was a bad movie?
I didn't think it was a bad movie.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, I didn't think it was bad.
50-50 right there.
Okay, we'll call
You'll
her
take it's okay.
I wouldn't watch it again.
Oh,
but...
man, we were right there. Now it's right there again. Oh.
But so the point is, like, he can do like all these different kinds of movies, like all over the place, musicals, dramas, sci-fi, whatever. I would love for Quentin Tarantino to go, you know what, for my 10th film, and just do something that's none of us would expect Quentin Tarantino to do.
Sound of Music remake.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
don't laugh. If he came out, if Quentin Tarantino came out and said,
That was
you know
only
what?
a half joke.
I'm going to do a Sound of Music remake for my last thing. Who would not be fascinated by that? Quentin Tarantino doing a Sound of Music. I would honestly be fascinated by it. So I would like to see him do something a little bit different.
Von Traps are just slaughtering Nazis.
I don't know. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I like.
There's
what
that
I'm gonna
true.
expect,
Yep.
Edelweiss is simply a bat that he uses to kill
He's
Nazis.
just going around killing Nazis.
But that would be great to see.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
All right. Tim Dulepsia, sorry if I butchered that, says, hey guys, I just got done watching The Boys, episode 5. First off, great episode again, and Simon Pegg, yes, deserves an Emmy for this episode alone. Thanks, and what is this, BOT?
Oh, you don't know about Bring on the Filthy.
I'll
explain that. I'll explain that one to you off camera.
All right.
But, so, the brilliance of Simon Pegg, this came up in yesterday's open mic as well, in that episode, is he transitions so quickly from confused, angry, enraged Hugh to confused, frightened, scared, disoriented Hugh, and like just flows back and forth between those two extremes. And I've said this before, listen, I've known Simon a long time, and I've always felt that everybody knows how great he is, but I think people have always underestimated just how good of an actor he is. Now, he did this one movie that admittedly was not very good a bunch of years ago. I think it was called Run, Fat Boy, Run.
I watched that one.
And I think Hank Azaria was in that one too. Anyway, not a very good movie.
What?
But
what are you? I thought that movie was pretty good.
I'm glad you like. I didn't think it was terrible. Don't get me wrong. I didn't think it was awful. I just didn't think it was all that good. But whatever. But his performance in it, he showed like you could put this guy in a better movie and he would really stand out and shine. And it was seeing him what he did in this episode, I thought was fantastic. All right, what's next?
All right, Dr. Shrek's Itchy Belly says, hey crew, I'm a beginner with film and I want to watch some older directors' filmographies. Any suggestions?
Yes.
That's all you, Jonathan.
Well, Ford. I mean, Ford, just go back. How Green Is My Valley and all, like, just fine. Actually, he's the director. That's right. He's the director. If you watched Steven Spielberg's latest film, The Fabelmans, Ford is the director that the young Steven Spielberg goes and meets at the very end. If you go, I think he's also one of the only directors in history to win Best Director back to back. Anyway, so go find him. Obviously, Hitchcock, because Hitchcock wasn't just horror. Hitchcock was brilliant. Kurosawa. Want to go back a little bit further than that, but anyway, yeah. So there's some good names.
What I recommend, and it's just so much easier. I just say go to AFI.com.
Yes.
Here's your top 100 years, 100 movies. They give you a checklist, and you start checking these off. And then when you check them off, you get back to us. Yep. There's your homework assignment. Movies.
By the way, Niles in the live chat is suggesting Von Trier, Herzog. No. That's that. Hey, listen, I love those names. Those are not names you start.
You don't start with that.
No.
That's not 101. That's like 103.
Yeah,
that's the advanced course.
That's like 401. So, favorite Werner Herzog movie. Two favorite Werner Herzog moments. One, he was an actor in a poker movie called The Grand, where it's about a movie about all this owner of this Las Vegas hotel puts on a poker tournament, and the winner of the tournament wins his hotel. And so Werner Herzog plays a eccentric European poker player, and he shows up to the hotel to play with crates of animals. And he's doing like the office kind of confessional interview. He goes, "Where do I get my energy from?" And he's sitting there petting a rabbit. "I kill one living thing every day with my bare hands." And so it's like, so good. But the greatest Werner Herzog moment in history, he was doing a documentary, and I cannot, guys in the live chat, if you remember this, let me know the name of it. I can't remember the name of the documentary off the top of my head, but he's literally doing a documentary. And as he's doing the documentary, and as the cameras are rolling, he gets shot by like some stray bullet from somewhere. And he's doing this interview. It's like he's talking. I've been shot. So, and blah, and he just keeps doing the interview. Baddest of the OG.
That was real?
Werner Herzog. Yep.
That really happened?
That really happened.
It was a real, wait, he was really shot?
He was shot.
Like a Borat type documentary. I can't.
Yeah, no, not a Borat kind of doc. It was not fake. He was legitimately shot and then just carried on.
Oh, wow.
What he was doing.
Well, everybody came and set up the shot and everything. You don't want to ruin that.
I know.
What a pain.
So cool. Anyway.
He didn't need
all
to
right.
worry.
What's next?
Where are we?
Matan
That's one,
right
two.
there.
Okay, so Matan Valensky says, after the finished product of The Acolyte shows that Iger needs to be replaced by an outsider, it will clean up the mess that Marvel and Star Wars are in, or find out where the money is going. I hope there isn't money laundering. If you haven't heard, The Acolyte had $50 million spent on pre-production, which makes me question what is going in Disney's books. And blaming Chapek can only get you this far. The only way he could be to blame is that he pushed it as content for Disney Plus.
Are you a fucking idiot? So Bob Chapek, who I believe the number right now sits at 27 movies that have hit the $1 billion mark under his watch. Because The Acolyte isn't good, and to be fair, The Acolyte was initially greenlit and announced Chapek had already been announced that he was going to be taking over, but when they announced The Acolyte years and years and years ago, technically speaking, when they announced it, Bob Iger was still the CEO at the time. But he's not Lucasfilm, right? He's got people who run these things. Anyway, I don't blame Bob Chapek for when there was content that came out that was bad. You don't blame Bob Chapek for individual projects. What you blame Bob Chapek for was the mandate that he forced on his studio, saying, because remember, the studio executives came out and say this, but under Bob Chapek, they told us we have to put out as much as we can, as fast as we can. Right? And that affected the overall thing. But because The Acolyte is terrible, and it's terrible. It's 100%, it's terrible. But Bob Chapek, the guy who acquired Star Wars, the guy who acquired Pixar, the guy who acquired Marvel, the guy who under his watch they've had like $27 billion films.
You mean Bob Iger, right?
Bob Iger, sorry. Because you don't like The Acolyte, you're like, this is proof Bob Iger has to go. Now listen, Bob Iger is going. He's tried to retire already, and then they had to have him come back and save the company. And so he's getting ready to retire again. His number one priority right now is to name a successor. But I don't know. To me, that's like Michael Jordan winning 4 NBA championships and then missing a game-winning shot one day and say, you got to trade Michael Jordan. Like, what? I don't. Okay, to me, that's just one of the most confusing things I think I've ever read. All right, what's next?
All right, Drew Gretsch says, Rhaenyra says she's got a letter from Alicent after Luke's death, but she hadn't the heart to read it. Had she read it sooner, the war could have been avoided. Maybe.
Or maybe she read it at the right time. Maybe she read it when it would have its most impact. Because if she had read it right after the death of her son, it may have just fallen on deaf ears, right? It may have just been whatever. But being in the place she was in when she read it actually caused some action. So you might be right. But I suspect that maybe she read it when she needed to read it. Maybe. Anyway, it's a good thought nonetheless.
But also the war, I don't think so, because we've now addressed the fact that both Hightowers have agreed that they're usurpers. There's just nothing they can do about it.
Well, Aegon's on the throne now, right?
Yeah.
The war. If Alicent goes to Aegon and says, "My son, I made a mistake. Your father never picked you." You think he's about to give up the throne? I don't think so.
Yeah. Now, if Alicent had said, "Well, he told me all about the ice and fire. He said my son Aegon is the prince that was promised," and that really happened, then I think Rhaenyra would have been like, okay. Because it was my father's wish.
Anyway, it's funny because Ann and I take a walk every night, and she was talking about that scene between Alicent and Rhaenyra. She goes, I've had so many conversations with girlfriends that went just like that. Like it struck very well home.
Like they're dead now.
All right, what's next?
All right, McFly says Coldplay did a really classy thing at the Glastonbury Festival last week. During their performance of Fix You, they had a special guest guitarist, a good Canadian kid from whom the song was an oldie, at least where he comes from.
Michael J. Fox came on stage, I believe, in a wheelchair, reminiscent of Back to the Future, getting on sing, and he played guitar with Coldplay. I saw the clips online, man. It was a great moment. Super awesome moment. All right, what's next?
All right. Willow Pillow says, how do you think they should go about doing the last Ronin TMNT?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, gosh, the acronyms. Go. Okay, I personally think it would be a perfect fit if they animated it, but in a more lifelike fashion, like with Love, Death, and Robots. There's a short fan film on YouTube that did it really well.
I personally think it should be live action. I think I think it's just going to hit harder, be more impactful if it's live action. I have to question whether or not it actually happens now with all the drama going on with Paramount. And I'm not saying this to be mean. I mean, honestly, with all the drama going on about someone's buying them, they're not buying them, we're looking for partners, the stock keeps dropping and all that kind of stuff. I got to wonder if it's still going to happen. I certainly hope it does, because I think it could be a very interesting project, but I think it should be live action. I really do. All right, what's next?
It Just Be says, hey, John, with movies like Bad Boys Ride or Die, Inside Out 2, A Quiet Place Day 1 doing gangbusters, what do you think will make studios revert back to the old theatrical release windows?
I think there was a studio executive who recently told me that their studio, come 2025, is reverting back to a longer theatrical window. I think they're already starting to understand it. I think with Disney particularly coming out, prior to Inside Out 2 coming out and saying Inside Out 2 is getting 100-day theatrical window.
I think
that's
Moana,
longer than the old ones used to be.
Yeah, I think Moana's going to get the same treatment.
Moana's going to get the same treatment. I think you are starting to see that the studios are realizing the mistake they made, and they're starting to correct it. Whether they follow through on that, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, listen, we had, as everybody knew we would have, a very rough start to 2024 with so many projects being either moved or delayed and whatever because of all the strikes and everything. We are starting to see now we're getting back to normalcy, and we're having big, coming outs for Bad Boys. Godzilla X Kong just broke the franchise record for making the most money out of its franchise. Quiet Place just broke its record for the biggest opening in its franchise. Inside Out 2 is breaking every animation record that there is. We got Deadpool on the way. We got Despicable Me 4 coming. We got Joker coming. I think in a year or two, if it's not too late, and it could be, but I think you're starting to see them revert back to that. Hopefully they'll do it faster rather than slower. All right, what's next?
Cosmic says, I'm so excited for SDCC and D23 because I'll be going to both.
Nice.
Excited to meet other fans and attend the large panels, especially for D23 with all the panels being held at the Honda Center, a stadium. Takes notes, SDCC. Totally respect your opinion on D23.
Yeah, I'll never go to another Disney thing, but that is absolutely the right move on their part. Like for those of you who haven't heard about this, D23 has decided that their big event, their big panels are not going to be held in some piffy little 5,000 seat auditorium which means not everybody can actually go. Not everybody who goes to D23 is going to be able to get into those panels.
And God forbid closed circuit television. God forbid that.
So let me remind me of that in a second, Jonathan.
Right.
I want to bring up an argument somebody made to me about that. But so what they're doing is for their big panel events, the ones that everyone wants to go to, they're moving across the street into the arena that can hold like 18,000 people. This is what we've been saying about San Diego Comic-Con for so long. 100 to 150,000 people go to Comic-Con. And yet, your big main events, your Hall H panels, are held in Hall H that at most, and I've moderated panels in there before, at most can hold 6,000 people, which means this Comic-Con, let's say 100,000 people go, and everybody wants to see the Marvel panel. That means only 6% of the people who are going to Comic-Con will even be able to get in to see the panel. That's pathetic.
Stupid.
Especially when you consider that literally walk out the door of Hall H and across the street, you're at a baseball stadium called Petco Park that can hold like 35,000 people. Why are you not doing your Hall H there? It seems to make way more sense. Instead, you got people saving up all year, making plans, booking hotels, flying across the country, coming to your event, but sorry, only 6% of you actually get to come into the thing that you really wanted to see.
Is that on purpose? They want to make it so exclusive?
No, it's just short-sighted. It's idiotic. It's completely idiotic.
My only
I literally know people who used to go to Comic-Con every year that just stopped going because I don't want to have to stand in a line for 48 hours, miss all these other panels. Why
Outlets
would I
can't even get
go when
in
the
there.
things I really want to see, I can't even get in to see?
news outlets can't even get in there half the time.
Yeah, there are literally news outlets that can't get into cover because they've only got a certain amount of seats. It's ridiculous when you've got a baseball stadium. So while I never plan to darken the door of a stupid Disney event again, kudos where it's due. That is a brilliant idea on their part to go across the street, go into a hockey arena, and make sure at least a lot more of the people who have come to your event get to see the big event. It's a great move on their part, and I allowed them for it. Now, the closed circuit TV thing. Jonathan brought this up the other day, and I enthusiastically got behind it, which is they should have Hall H, but then throughout the convention center, broadcast the events of Hall H on closed circuit TVs throughout the rest of the convention center so people at the convention can see it. And I am 100% behind that. I then had one of our viewers write to me and say, John, here's your problem. I'm like, what's that? People are just going to take out their phones and film the TV and live stream it.
Yeah.
And that's what they don't want. I'm like, That's a good point. That is a drawback to the closed circuit thing. But the other thing you could do, though, here's the counter to that. There's also Ballroom 20. That's the second biggest room at Comic-Con. And a bunch of other rooms.
Overflows.
Yes. Create overflow rooms where you can fit in another 6,000 to 10,000 people. And you do phone checks at the doors to go into those rooms where you were closest. So don't have a closed circuit throughout the convention center, but pick 4 or 5 other rooms, have phone checks as people are going in, and do it that way. Anyway, we could talk about this all day.
Let's do that.
What's next?
All right. Did we already? Oh, we did that one. So moving on to members here. Logan Vaughn at the top.
All right. Logan Vaughn, 1994 says, in House of Dragon, I absolutely loved watching. Is it Damon?
Damon, yeah.
Damon. Walk through the castle ruins in the thunderstorm. Okay, yeah. I thought he was going to have to fight someone or some monster based on his nervousness and the setting. Felt like a Witcher moment for a beat. Hope we get more dark fantasy vibes like this in the show.
What I loved about that scene is that it was consistent with what we know about Damon through the rest of the show. He can get ahead of himself a little bit. Yeah. We've seen him do that in other parts of the show. Like thinking, I'm just going to show up to Harrenhal and take it all by myself. That was a little dumb. But he's done stuff like that before. It's consistent with the character. He just thought, I'll just say, I've got a dragon, and maybe that'll do. But again, he finds out what state it's all in and all that kind of stuff. And it was a really good scene because I love how consistent they always keep their characters. All right.
Yeah, go ahead. Because what I have to say is going to drag on.
All right. Okay. What's next then?
There we go. Top Gun Manny says, is there any celebrity, athlete, or famous person that's on your bucket list of meeting one day? I'm not big on meeting celebrities, but I purchased my tickets to meet the cast of Back to the Future at LA Comic-Con, and meeting Michael J. Fox was something that is on my bucket list. I couldn't be more thrilled.
I've honestly met just about everybody that I could. The one person I have not met that I desperately want to meet is Steven Spielberg. I've never met Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
I was served lunch by his mother. My old entertainment lawyer took me to his friend this was back when Steven Spielberg's mother was still alive. And she owned a restaurant in town called Milk and Honey. I think that was the name of it. And he took me there, and I actually got served lunch by Steven Spielberg's mother. It was crazy, but I've never met Steven Spielberg.
So close.
And to me, he's the greatest filmmaker of all time. People are asking, have you met Henry Cavill? Oh yeah, I've met Henry Cavill several times. But Tom Hanks, yes. But I met Tom Hanks before I met Anne, so I wasn't able to introduce Anne to him. Of course, Tom Hanks is Anne's favorite human being. But Steven Spielberg, I never got to meet the GOAT, and I would love someday to meet the GOAT.
But hey, on the bright side, you left Robert De Niro hanging one day. So it's literally painful to watch it.
When Dennis sent me that video clip, I'm like, what? Yeah, like I'll show you the picture, but it's Robert De Niro. I was interviewing him, and then I said, all right, see you later. And I turned around to walk out. And what I didn't know, my editor, Dennis, sent me a clip. There's literally, so I'm walking away, and I was like, okay, and right behind me is Robert De Niro half standing doing this.
Oh no. My God.
Trying to shake my hand with my back turned to Robert De Niro, and I'm walking away from Robert De Niro, turning my back, and I left.
And it gets
I
a
left
little
Robert
worse.
De Niro hanging.
It's a little worse too, because not to drive the nail in further, but this was for Las Vegas, so he freaking did that with Kevin Kline sitting there, and Morgan Freeman sitting
Michael
there,
Douglas.
and Michael Douglas sitting there,
Wow.
and they all watched it happen.
Wow. Okay.
It was not a good day to be John. It was not a good day to be John.
I shoulder checked Robert De Niro at the SAG Awards, and I thought that was
my
bad.
A bunch of De Niro haters in here.
I
Damn,
felt
dude.
awful. It was so bad that they were all checking on him if he was okay. But I think yours is worse.
Mine's worse. Yeah, I think mine's a little bit more embarrassing. All right, what's next?
All right.
Bailey.
Bailey Stimson, YNJ says, question, are you looking forward to Nathan Fielder's chess movie with A24? It's their highest budgeted film yet. Love the curse in Nathan for you.
I'm not familiar with
Yeah, I
it.
didn't even know about
I
it.
never heard of it.
The last chess movie I watched, not counting Anya Taylor-Joy's series, Queen of... No, what was it called?
Catway.
No, that was the movie.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. It's
What was the Anya Taylor-Joy series called?
Netflix.
Oh, the
Gambit?
Queen's
Queen's Gambit.
Yeah.
That's what it was. So, by the way, just bring this up quick, Jonathan.
Uh-huh. What?
On
The
NDI.
question?
No, on NDI.
Oh, okay, hang on. I gotta bring
Just
this
so
up.
yeah, before that, before Queen's Gambit, which was a series, the last chess movie I watched was Lupita Nyong'o's Queen of Katwe. Yeah,
That's John walking off.
that idiot
gosh.
walking away. That's me, and that's Robert De Niro. Like,
Wow.
just sitting there
Wow.
trying to
It's
shake
worse
my
than I
hand.
thought.
Oh my
And that the
God.
guy with his back to us, that's Kevin Kline, who I adore. And then there's Morgan Freeman there and Michael Douglas beside him.
Oh,
But that's
you don't
Robert
adore
De
one of
Niro
them.
trying to shake
Well,
my
you were
hand.
out of there.
Oh yeah, I was like, peace out, and I was like, yeah.
That's where the legend.
Rough.
That is the
Began.
most embarrassing moment I think
his
of
villain
my
origin story.
Yeah, that's
career.
the villain right there.
Oh man.
All right. Anyway, what's next?
All right. CLS Rocks 007 says, how should Sony fix its live action Spider-Verse movies? At this point, even getting Spider-Man in them might not save it.
No. Putting Spider-Man in it won't make any difference unless you first of all stop hiring the writers who made the Gods of Egypt. Stop hiring the writers, same writers who made Morbius and Madam Web, and they just keep hiring the same. Okay, how about spitballing here? Stop hiring them to write your scripts. Because if you just get those same two guys and you just put Spider-Man in it, that doesn't make the movie any better. The Fantastic Four movies, the old Fantastic Four movies, had Doctor Doom in them. Did that help the movies? Not at all. Right? The only thing that helps them is the same basic filmmaking fundamentals that every movie has to do. Start with a solid script that you write interesting characters into and give them interesting things to do and say. Create sub-narratives to your main plot line and put it together in an engaging package. The same fundamentals in making any good movie, bring that into those. The answer is make good movies. Putting Spider-Man in it will not make a bad movie a good movie, right? It's just, they got to make good movies. And I'd say just start with maybe, I don't know, better writers. Stop hiring the exact same writers that continue to fail. That's just my thought on that. All right, what's next?
Right. King Daddy Goat 8782 says, hey John and crew, yesterday was my birthday and we took my daughter to see Inside Out 2.
Oh, nice.
Loved it. Just as good as the first one in my opinion. You all have any favorite birthday movie memories? I distinctly remember seeing Too Fast, Too Furious when I was a kid, and the experience of just going was enough to save the film. Anyways, thanks for all you legends do.
I honestly can't remember any movie that I saw on my. I'm sure I've seen movies on my birthday. I honestly can't remember any movies I've seen on my birthday. Can any of you guys?
Mutant Mayhem.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
that's
That was
right. We
recent.
saw that
Yeah.
on your birthday.
Yeah, of course.
That was your birthday. I can't
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
for mine. But yeah, that was a great day. That was a really fun day because then we came back here, we did the
Right.
party and all that kind of stuff. That was really good.
I
I can't remember what for
Scorpion
myself though.
King for my birthday one
Oh,
year.
Scorpion
you win.
King.
Yeah.
You win.
Kelly
Me and
Wu.
my grandma, she loved The Rock, and that was something we did.
There you go.
Wow, Scorpion King. All right, let's do two more. What's next?
One Shadow Love says, hey John and crew, I see a lot of online folks complaining about House of Dragon being slow and no battles. I personally love the drama and intense scenes. How important are the dragons, action, and battle scenes to you when it comes to the Game of Thrones lore?
Low, very low. Don't get me wrong. I love the Battle of the Bastards. I love dragons burning ships. I love all that stuff. But I've been saying for a while, when Game of Thrones is truly excellent, when it's truly firing on all cylinders, are the quiet scenes. It's the conversations.
Mhm.
It's the machinations.
Mhm.
It's the strategizing. It's the
Tension building.
the
Yeah.
tension building. Give me that scene with Otto dressing down Aegon the other day over a bunch of sword battles.
Sure.
I mean, it's all built. By the way, how long was it in Game of Thrones? What season were we in when we finally actually got to legitimately see?
Well,
a
Battle of the
dragon?
Bastards was season 6.
Well, the Battle of the Bastards came way later.
Yeah, but if you think about Game of Thrones and the amount of screen time that is a battle and the amount of time that is not, it is minuscule on the battles front.
Yeah.
they stand out, but they're not. It's not the whole show.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I love that stuff. I do. But that's not what makes Game of Thrones a good show.
And you know what's funny? I was just thinking about that last night when I finally got to watching the episode. I'm like, people are going to start complaining about this. I love it, but I know some people are going to be like, this is boring.
Yeah, I mean, look, and that's all fine. Some people's tastes, we all have different tastes. Some people's like explosions, and some people need some higher octane adrenaline, kind of action stuff. Nothing wrong with that. And so that's why not everything is for everyone. We all have different things that we enjoy. But for me, this is when the show's at its best. And I am freaking loving it. Loving it so much. It makes
the battles mean more too. It's
yes,
like
it
a
does.
whole build up. So now I'm invested in the characters, the storyline. So when there is a big battle, I'm like in it. So yeah, I'm liking it.
Whenever there's action in any Game of Thrones stuff, there's narrative purpose to it. There's story being told as the action happens. And that's just one of the great things about it. All right, last question of the day. What's next?
What do we got? So Zachary P 1089 says, I loved Shogun, and until recently, I was with you that it will likely win the Best Drama Emmy. After episode 3 of Hot D, I think it's pretty safe to say...
Sorry.
He loves when people say Hot D.
House of the Dragon, yeah.
I was like, what is... I gotta catch on to the
Hot D works too, though.
I've never heard... okay, anyway, sorry about that one. Hot D is what I'm gonna call it, though.
Yeah, do it.
After episode of Hot D, I think it's pretty safe to say that Shogun's chances of winning anything are going up in a sea smoke. Have your thoughts started to change with regard to the show of the year as we've seen more and more of Hot D?
Nope. Shogun is the best show. Yeah. And you hear me ooh and awe and guffaw every week with House of the Dragon. I love it. It's amazing. But I think it's a foregone conclusion. I think Shogun takes it. I just think it's the better show. Now, that's like saying, do you want $1 billion deposited in your account or $1.1 billion deposited? I mean, yeah, it's both amazing, life-changing, incredible, momentous things. But yeah, I personally, I still give the edge to Shogun. I just think it was a little bit of a better show, but they're both insanely good. They're both incredible. And either way, we win. We all win. That's the ultimate thing here is we all win. All right, guys. And that will do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here and making this little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number one, because you gave us fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Don't forget to come on back and join us again tomorrow for the next installment of the show. And until then, I want to thank my friends Ray Ora.
I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Jonathan Voico.
Later.
We got Paris Rose here. My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.